And we're live. Have you ever been in trouble and knew that trouble was coming, but it hadn't come yet?
But just go ahead and enjoy this because like you can't get in any more trouble.
Right.
So shit.
Like I've busted curfew. I know when I get home, I'm in deep shit. So might as well enjoy this.
When I was maybe 12 years old, or younger than that, probably like 9. You know those wagons you'd pull? I'm pretty sure I told this a while back. There are those wagons, little kids, you pull them and you see the moms walking down the street and they got the big plastic Fisher-Price wagon and the 2 kids sitting on the bench in there. Well, I tied my younger brother up and I put him in there at the top of a very large hill in our backyard. And there was just a willow tree down in the middle of the yard. And as I was about to push him, I heard my dad screaming from up there going, "Taylor, don't you do it! Don't you push him down that hill!" And in that moment, I was like, I'm in too deep, and so I pushed him because I'd already tied my brother up, and I thought it would be neat to see, and I just thought he was gonna go real quick down and then just kind of come to a slow stop on the grass. But I swear to God, he must have been steering it even unknowingly because he goes and then careens straight towards the willow tree. I could see the willow tree kind of becoming his new target, and I could hear my dad like stomping down like the loud wooden stairs, you know, from the porch down to our level so he could run over and grab me and I could be scolded. And it was just kind of in that moment, right as I saw in slow motion my brother going for that willow tree, knowing he was going to hit, knowing I was going to have hell to pay, just doing that thing from Gladiator where I closed my eyes and kind of like put my hand out and felt the wheat around me. I heard that song and I was just kind of like, you know, reality, it really is beautiful. You know, like I'm just happy to be a part of it before this, you know, savagery that's about to partake in me. But that was one
scolding.
I remember where it's like, oh man, like I'm gonna have to go like pick my own switch or something. But which was always terrible having to go pick your own switch from the like I got like spanked, I'm sure, but like no, I didn't get beaten. Jesus, no, just like the corrective.
I got beaten. I remember my mom
so that's what happened.
Beat me one time so bad that I shit my pants.
Wow.
And
all right, can you just stop the fucking show right now? We need to have like an intervention, right? like don't we need to like get a third party in here to help evaluate? You got beaten so hard you shit your pants.
I did.
Now, real quick
this
ask,
happened.
Like, wait. To set a standard, Kyle, when I say that I got like beat or hit as a kid, you understand it to be like a wooden spoon when I was bad, right? Or your palm, open hand, or a wooden spoon, not beating a kid until he poops himself. So give us this to know.
I don't remember what I did exactly, but I think it was showing some kind.
The beaters are listening right now.
Yeah, they listen to the show, but it doesn't hold me back that much. They I think it was like I showed some measure of disrespect, right? And so she's beating respect into me, and like just beating and screaming and like just like having at me. And I shit my pants. And in my head, my first thought was like, oh my God, is there really shit in my pants? And then like, there's that sort of warm, comforting shit in your pants that like, I was like, all right, this is like mildly pleasant, but oh no. And yeah, that was me as a kid. So,
can you get the age?
Yeah. Well, age?
18.
7. You know? 7,
okay.
Yeah. And
man.
So she's beating the fuck out of me at 7. I shit my pants and I'm like, no. When she finds this out, it's just gonna get worse, right? When she finds out that I shit my pants, she's gonna ramp this up to next level, and now I'm totally fucked. Like, oh no. And I start crying and you know, and through my sobs, I tell her that I pooped myself. And but the unexpected happens. She goes easy on me, and she feels bad that she beat me so much that I pooped myself. And now I'm like, wait a minute. Is this a strategy for future beatings? Like, is this a thing that I can like reproduce on demand to end beatings sooner than they would have otherwise beaten? They're ended. So...
So you were starting to plan like preemptive shits where you're like, you know, I'm gonna get a little ornery this weekend. So I'm gonna load up so I have quick
fiber, lots of fiber for the weekend. I'm gonna be a bad boy.
Just talking to your dad. Now he's just shitting before I even hit him like a dog would. You know.
So she instantly had. I mix up sympathy and empathy. I need to hit the dictionary, but she instantly has some sympathy for me, and you know, like whatever, retrieved clean clothes, and I sorted it out, and like it was the
that's child
move
abuse.
to solve the problem.
That's child abuse.
Child abuse.
So wait.
What you call child abuse, I call childhood. All right.
Wait, it's like the nature. So these
Most
beetles,
victims do.
Make that your fucking Reddit tagline thing.
I'm such
your
a
flair.
Puss. I feel like such a pussy now. All the stories of like, man, then I got a real whooping. It's like very measured. Like you get 5 whacks with the spoon and like that.
When I was
describe
7,
the nature of these hits. Like, were these open hand, closed hand, like in the stomach and the head, and where were you getting hit?
There wasn't a particular aiming going on. I'm like cowering, you know, and she's hitting me. She might hit me on the shoulder and the back and the ass. In my bedroom. I was in my bedroom.
Are you in the corner cowering in fear?
There's a corner made from the bed and the wall, and I'm in that corner. Yeah, and I'm not on the bed.
I want to try something here. Let's recreate it and see if Woody shits himself. So she's looming over you, right? She's big and powerful. The blows are raining down on you. Too many to count. You feel a strong pain everywhere, all over your body. But then there's something else. An urge. You can't stop. It's warm and smelly, and the shame fills your heart. But the blows just keep coming.
Yeah, I remember I told the story to my wife not that long ago. It was in my head for some reason. And she's like, I feel so bad for little Woody. Like you know, the child version of you. She's like, it's just sad. And I'm like, what? You didn't get this?
Nah, man. The kids that got that, they take away.
I've never hit my kids, not once. I don't even soap them. That's not my thing. I figured out early that if I use like
my dad would throw 3 or 4 of those in a pillowcase. Just really give it to you.
My wife, she would use she put on her 2 fingers and she'd put like liquid soap on there. I remember the first time ever, I've told this before, my daughter was back talking like hardcore, right? She's like, I don't know, I'll call it 6 or 7, I'm not sure. And she's just yelling at my wife like, hi. And Jackie, like a ninja, has like liquid soap on there, and she goes whoosh, and she soaps her tongue. And then Hope kept yelling, and she blew a bubble. It's the greatest thing ever. Really but I never had to soap because I could get them.
A child that shits itself.
Yeah,
that's a real generational gap, you know.
I could get my children to cry by yelling at them. You know, just
of course you could. A little emotional abuse, a little really terrorizing.
It's not like I do this much,
out of a child.
But like, you know, all I need to do is be stern with them for like 10 seconds in a row or something, and they would get into tears. So with that, like,
that's what you want. That's how you know you've won.
Okay, man, I don't know. I feel like my kids are gonna tell the story like my dad yelled at me for 10 seconds until the tears went, and their kids are gonna be like, "Oh my god, what a monster!" But yeah, that's all I've ever had to do. Like,
have any of us ever had mental health?
I know Anthony probably has a couple of good stories about taking a few savage beatings from the dad.
Can you beat my stories, Anthony?
Actually, when I was about that age, 7 or so, my dad would use the belt. And he would threaten us by hanging it on the doorknob sometimes. If me and my brother were talking when we should be sleeping, he would hang it on the doorknob and go, next time I come in. So we, of course, would be stupid and keep talking. Or for another reason sometimes. He'd come in with the belt and give you the talking beating, which every word is like, don't you ever do that. And you're like, oh, please, keep this short.
I'm glad Dad's vocabulary isn't right.
You're really praying for single syllable words during a meeting like that.
Right. Jesus, Mom, you lighten up on the verbiage.
So then when he and my mom got divorced and he left, my mom figured she'd pick up, you know, where he left off with the belt when we acted up. And so she was hitting me once with the belt, you know, don't you do whatever it was. And my father would fold the belt over like that, a double strap, and use that. Mom didn't know how to use it. So she had the long belt holding it by the buckle, and she hit me a couple of times, and it whipped around. And if this thing didn't perfectly go whack right on the tip of my little dick, just bam! I let out a scream. She thought she had killed me. She threw the belt down. What? I was like, I couldn't even talk. And, you know, my little dick blew up because it was wounded. And that was it. She never again picked up the belt.
Oh, you lucky
Well,
bitch.
Woody was never sexually assaulted. Lucky you.
I took
Oh.
a dick hit from a plastic shark from my mom when I was maybe 4.
On
My
purpose,
mom's
she
the
hit you with a
worst
plastic
because-
shark?
Yeah, I was like, my brother was down on the floor and I was very young. And for some reason, like I was so young, I didn't have thoughts. I just knew that I wanted to bite his back severely. And so I bit his back a few times while my mom was on the phone, and my mom had to run over and be like, Taylor, stop. And she grabbed the big plastic toy shark that I had in my hand. And I'm naked because I was a free little boy. And so I was running around in that little circle where they're trying to whip you, but you kind of getting out of range until she kind of did that like adult gets tired of your nonsense and use a little adult strength and like snap the kid back around. And she gave me a solid wallop, and she immediately turned her attention to my brother because his back was bleeding because I had bit him. And I just sat there and just
Monster.
apparently gave out the most blood-curdling scream. And then she was like, Taylor, shut up. You stop. And I just sat there weeping, like pointing at my dick area, like, and like apparently my scrotum swelled up gigantic, and she had to call the doctor and be like, is it gonna go down on its own, or do I need to come in for like a deflation procedure? I don't know what's going on.
God
Like, just
damn.
if it gets ruptured, you'll know, but he'll be fine in a little bit. Just let it settle down. And it did.
My mom threw a high-heeled shoe at me one time, and it took
Oh,
a
yeah, sure.
bad bounce. It took a bad bounce, and like the heel of it hit me like right here on the cheek and drew blood.
Nice.
And I was just like, look what you did. Look what you did. Like she felt terrible, of course. Like I was like, I because I knew, you can't fucking hit your kid in the face and make it bleed. So I was just like, look what you did. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? I'm the crazy one. I'm the irresponsible one. What if it'd been my eye, Mom? How cool would I look with an eye patch right now? Yar! Fuck you, Mom. Like, there were a lot of times
dude,
like, moms are the worst disciplinarians because they're often weaker than their offspring, so they're not good at it. And you have no respect for them because of that fact. My dad comes around and it's whooping time. It's like, shit, I'm crying before he gets there. I hope he doesn't use the belt this time because he's a big dude and he wears a big belt. But Mom comes, she's got to have a weapon. She's got a shoe. She's got a plastic coat hanger.
She's got a kitchen armory.
My mom would
full of
beat me,
implements.
The fact that you said,
and I'm like
I like that
totally.
you said the high-heeled shoe took a bad bounce. I can't imagine a high-heeled shoe taking anything but a bad bounce.
Exactly.
They just can't quite.
Yeah,
I would get
exactly.
beaten, right? And I'm a real pale, pasty white kid and stuff. And I'd be like, look at this. And there's like 5 distinct fingers on the side of my face. Or I'd show her my ass, like, look how red it is. And they're like, yeah, that's what we were going for. Like, what, I'm supposed to feel bad about my success?
Dude, having fingerprints on your face, that would be upsetting to me as a child to get slapped in the face by my parents.
Yeah,
like,
I never got slapped in the
Did you
face.
just get used to it, Woody, or like was it regular, like irregular enough? Or I guess was it regular enough that you got used to it, or so irregular that it was impactful every time? Like, oh Jesus, they slapped me again. Like,
I like, it wasn't that like, oh my God, there's fingers on my face. It's, oh my God, I'm such a bad kid. Like that was.
I'm so sorry.
That
that
was-
is sad.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for little kid Woody.
And it was somewhat unpredictable too. Like I remember I went to a friend's house.
What's the statute of limitations
And-
on child abuse?
That's what you want with a disciplinarian.
Clip
Harsh
Clip Hutchinson
and
right now.
unpredictable.
I spilled milk at a friend's house. Now at my house, that was not a good thing to be doing, right? Like if you knock your drink over or something, like why were you so careless? And I'm like, oh my God, like holy shit, like what the fuck is about to go down? I don't even know this person. And she said it was okay. And she cleaned the spill and she cleaned the bottom of the glass because that was a thing. Like my mom would clean the spill, but then I get in trouble for like, because the glass was still dirty on the bottom. And she's like, now like you're leaving rings around. But I'm young and I'm stupid. Like I don't know to clean the bottom of the glass. And so like even after it's clean, it's not over yet because I'm still leaving like things under the glass, like little rings.
Yeah.
And
now, was this a time in your parents' life where losing a glass of milk was, hey, we can't be doing that. That's expensive milk.
my dad was professionally successful.
So we're talking about a kind of thing where milk is
She
just
kept a
worthless,
clean home.
and if we needed to, we could buy 500 gallons tomorrow and pour it out, and nobody would ever know the difference.
Well, we didn't waste money, but
Oh, of course not. Or you got a beating.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and you certainly didn't waste milk.
but when the friends when they cleaned the thing and then they cleaned the bottom of the glass and it was all over, I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Like yeah. And then there were times I wouldn't get in trouble. I remember I knocked over a potted plant and I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. Oh my God. Like I'm about to catch a whooping. And she recognized it as a mistake and let it slide.
They did some psyops shit to you, man. They were really fucking with you physically and psychologically.
This is like a behind the music Woody's gamer tag. Like seeing the origin story, like, oh wow, like spilling milk. I can't imagine as a little kid spilling milk and being like, oh, it's about to get real. Like a black company isn't over.
Can I I don't know about everyone else's childhood, but if I had spilled a glass of milk, that held 0 consequences.
It was a mistake.
0, none. Everybody was like, "Oh shit, you spilled your milk. Well, here, have some more, little guy. Let's clean that up for you."
Little guy.
Yeah. Right? It wasn't like you're gonna shit yourself tonight.
You think milk grows on trees? You know.
I was a bad kid
Next time
though.
you're buying it.
I remember. So it was 5th grade, and I had this teacher, Mrs. DiMaggio or something, DeLorean, I don't know. And so what happened is she had made this chart for my parents to like sign that I did my homework because I wasn't doing my homework. I really was a bad kid. And I started forging my mom's name, and I just about convinced, I guess, the teacher that my mom had really childish handwriting. And we came in, and I missed something like 27 days of homework in a row. And the teacher explained, she's like, Woody's not stupid, right? He's not a dumb kid. I have other kids in here, and I feel for them because they just don't get it. He gets it, but he won't work at all. Like I've been teaching for 32 years, and he is the single worst student that I have ever had in my 32 years of teaching. I heard this and I felt pride. Like really, number one? Like in 32 years? That's quite like no one's ever like dodged work as hard.
Because you were so damaged from that home abuse where you're like, well, I may not be the best guy at keeping milk in my cup or, you know, not breathing too loudly when I sleep, but man, I'm at least the most difficult student this woman's ever had.
So,
you know, I'll latch onto that.
After this like little parent teacher conference thing, we go back to the car. And my mom's like selling real estate on the side at the time. It actually, so my father was like this real estate wheeler dealer type guy in addition to being an accountant. And he realized that he could get out of all the brokerage fees if my mom got her real estate license. So she was doing that. And she was also kind of, I guess, selling a little bit of, you know, houses here and there and stuff. So anyway, the point behind that is that she gave away these snow scrapers. You know, the little plastic, like foot long snow scrapers? Yeah, well, she had like a dozen of them like put together with a couple rubber bands. And we get to the car and I'm in the passenger seat, like up front. And I, like in the school, I felt like we had kind of worked out a plan going forward, like where she was going to check my homework and I was going to be a better kid. And she starts beating the fuck out of me with this bundle of scrapers. And she's hitting me and she's hitting me. And she said that I made her look bad. And I'm like, it's not you. I'm just a really bad kid. Like, there's nothing that you could do. And she would just beat the fuck out of me with those ice scrapers.
Like Jerry Lundegaard in Fargo.
Yeah.
Ice scraper.
I don't know the scene. But
bastard.
No, hang on.
That is such a good comparison.
Was that the same teacher that thought that you were retarded?
No. That was 3 years later.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just make
the retarded one. The retarded one was 3 years earlier. This is 5th grade. You're thinking of 2nd.
I want to have like a professional come in on the show as our guest next week.
Yeah. And then the fans will give me shit for retelling stories.
Dark shit.
Dark
shit.
What was the single worst beat? Or I guess to Anthony and Woody, because I'm sure you both have a good one. What was the single worst one you ever took from your dad, mom, whoever gave it to you worst?
I think the worst one, and it wasn't even because I never really got beaten badly. Like it was always the belt as a kid, but once I got a little older, they just stopped altogether doing that. But once my dad in California, when I was living out there with him, and I was about 13, I guess, and my father was like the worst. We went like days without food, and we had a gas lantern in our apartment because the electricity was turned off again. It was just terrible. So I was starving, and I stole some quarters to buy ice cream sandwiches with. I was just like starving. And he found out that I had taken him, and he couldn't fathom that I bought anything to eat with it. He thought I was buying like model rocketry or something, model rockets or whatever it was. So he open hand smacked me in the face. And I never got hit in the face as a kid, ever. It was always just with the belt. So that one was the most traumatic. That was like a man just hit me in the face. It was frightening. That one stands out.
My father didn't really hit me. Like sometimes what would happen is I'd be bad while my dad is at work, and my mom would decide all right, we're going to upgrade this to dad. And then I would just sit there in fear all day long. Holy shit, I'm about to catch an ass kicking from a grown man. This is going to really suck. And then my dad would get home and he'd be like, he did what? Do we have to? He didn't really agree that this was you gotta really fucking lay the beat down on this. He would spank me sometimes, and that would suck because when my mom beat me, usually there was some level of defense and cowering and shielding blows or whatever. My dad, he'd be like,
bob and weave.
I think he made me pull down my pants. I'm not sure about that. And I would have to lay over his lap, and then he would spank me.
See, that's the difference between a punishment and an assault.
I really wasn't a fan of either of them, to be honest with you. But
no, but when your dad was spanking you, I'm sure that you felt like at no point is he going to lose control and just catch me in the jaw.
That was a difference. Yeah.
Spank.
My father
was just like, this scraper could hit me in the eye with the next swing.
Because mom is angry. She's not hitting you because, he did A, B, and C. So the measured response is 7 swats on the bottom. Your mom has lost control of herself and gone into a rage. And to take care of her own inner anger and loss of self-control, she's taking it out on a child to the point where he shits himself.
I was a bad kid, though.
That doesn't matter. There's plenty of. I got a bad puppy, but I never stomped it out. You just fucking scoop up the poop and just realize it's a puppy. He's learning. That's my. Oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, I feel bad too, especially because you're still. I can't tell if you're just doing it for the bit, or if you actually are but I really was a bad kid.
Yeah.
No, you didn't deserve that. Let me be the first to say
like a rape victim. Well, I was wearing a really short skirt, and I am kind of a whore. Maybe I deserved it. My dad raped me too. Maybe I do deserve it.
When Taylor asked about the worst beating we caught, one day, 2 friends and I decided to pick on my older brother. Now, in fairness, sometimes that was reciprocated and stuff. I always felt a little put down, a little under his thumb. I'd probably do it to Taylor if I was his little brother too. But we decided to just fuck with all his shit. He had a radio that I envied. They would play FM radio. So we put that under the garage door and slammed it repeatedly. We each had a swing. So we had a swing set with 2 swings, and one was kind of his and one was kind of mine. But it was all rusty, the chains. So when you knotted it up, curled it too much, it would get all I don't know, a well-maintained swing chain will just sort of come unraveled. His was fucked up. We took the rusty chain, spun it around, put it through itself, sat on it, and maybe another thing or two. I ruined some of my brother's shit, and the beating I caught for that was maybe the worst one ever. It was just same thing but longer. It was I'm on the ground. She's hitting. She kicking.
Had her Wheaties that morning.
Yeah, I'm just doing this kind of shit, And she's kicking and punching and chewing, and that was a bad one.
Chewing.
Yeah, hit with a shoe. What would you call it?
Oh, shoeing. I thought you said chewing.
I would call it
she was biting
with a shoe.
Yeah.
Tobacco. Yeah, spitting it.
No, she didn't.
Chewing.
She never bit me or anything. But yeah, that's why I turned out so great.
This has been eye-opening.
To just have one of those, you brought up the time machine before, but instead of going back in time, you put your now self in your childhood body, and as your parents hitting you, you know what it's really like. Most of it was just shock that it was happening. So if you realize what's happening and your older self was in the kid body, you could just sit there and go, really? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's what you do?
Can I get back
No,
to my
yeah.
Fisher Price?
Dude,
Yeah.
the adult me of today could work some sort of reverse psyops, right? Like,
Oh, see?
yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to, like, you know, you take these hits and you're like, really, you seem out of control right now. You have lost it. Is this the kind of mother that you aspired to be when you first had children? Did you think that you were gonna go down like, yeah, the adult me talking back? That
Are you really?
Mom, I'm gonna need you to take
me,
5.
Or are you doing something else to make yourself feel better by doing this? Talk to me about it. You can hit me at the same time, but let's talk about. Oh God.
Yeah, that's
Trouble in the bedroom with Dad?
No, that's never it. Jesus, that's never it with them. Even now, they're knocking on the door 70.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you moved out decades ago. They got to get that rage out somehow. Oh, well, this has been enlightening.
Let me now that we've finished the part about Woody's child abuse, let me tell y'all a little bit about Tracker.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're gonna beat
Smart.
me again for telling these stories. Like, Dad, you still got it.
You get a text message like you're in so much shit.
Yeah, right. The next time I
It's just
see
that
you in
she sends
Florida,
you a like now I think like she sends you a picture of a penny loafer just like your wife, but it's a whole different message.